welcome to Recovery Uncovered. I will be your host, Bri Jaynes, who will talk about problems that people face within being a woman in recovery, maybe even not in recovery, or recovering from anything. So this podcast is dedicated to talking about recovery subjects relating to substance use, but it also touches on domestic violence, any type of actual societal issues that we face, stigma, and everything you really don't want to talk about. To my left is my beautiful best friend, Ariel.
Hi.
Fuentes. We are going to do a podcast every month or every week, depending on the schedule, and welcoming, obviously, Ariel on this channel. They'll probably be on the ones going further. So to Recovery Uncovered.
I want to be part of your world.
I realized I didn't need a man. It was the first time in like 15 years that I did not have a man around. And I was like, oh my God, like I can be alone.
Did you find love in yourself?
Yes.
Was it just your perception of love?
Second time around. That time around, I was like waiting. I was still like I was in limbo waiting for him to come home.
Isn't it sad that we need not we, but I've felt this way before. Maybe you have too. It sounds like you have
yeah.
You value yourself based off of how other people love you. And that goes back to your childhood and how your parents make you feel loved, which goes back to the fact of what you accept from people based off of your upbringing.
And our attachment style, like you just said, everything relates to how we were raised.
Yeah, that came full circle.
For me, though, even though, my parents divorced when I was about 8 or so, they split up different towns and everything. But, there was never a point where I didn't think that my parents loved me. We're the apples of their eyes.
Same.
So, it didn't, they
I'm blessed
would,
that way too.
poo-poo on
my
each
mom,
other,
yes, my dad,
but
no.
it's just but they still were just good at loving us. Maybe not in all of their decisions that they made, because they were only their young 20s.
Yeah, they were young.
Yeah.
too.
How many
Very
siblings
young.
do you have?
Well,
A lot.
so there's a bunch of us, but so my mom and dad, they had me and my brother together, so I have one.
That's probably why you're
sibling.
such an unconditional lover. If you've had a lot of siblings,
yeah, and
She
we're
has
super
raised so
blended
many
and mixed. Because then I have a half brother,
A lot.
2 adopted sisters who are biological sisters. They're biological half sisters.
Wow. So did your parents, they split because they lived in 2 separate towns? You said that, right? Mm-hmm. And then they got remarried.
No. Well, okay. So then my mom, she had her own boyfriend, Ron. Well, so he had twins, and they were the same age.
There too.
Yeah, so they were the same age as my
colorful.
younger brother. So it was me, 3 boys who were the same age.
Oh, wow.
And then we had my baby brother.
How old were you guys when you all moved in together?
I was 8.
And she raised all her siblings. This is the
Wow.
part, yes, her
because
mom
I'm
raised
the
them.
eldest, and I had already
Her
been
mom
instilled,
did a lot of it, yes, but she played such a major role. The first thing she ever said to me when we met was I love my baby brother. It was the first thing she ever said to me.
Baby brother
She was very shy. She told, I even remember how when he was born because of that. She literally was he was born August 17th on a Wednesday.
He's
and
your son?
Yeah.
He's basically your son?
Yes.
Do you have siblings yourself?
I have one half brother, and then I have a brother who we fostered and another girl we fostered, and then 3 step siblings, and that was all in and out, scattered. My half brother is substance abuse, hard for me to even talk about. My foster brother passed away from sepsis and diabetes.
Wow.
Yeah, he went to go get a antibiotic from the ER that he had been served previously before COVID. He was unvaxxed. They turned him away because of that being so busy. He died 3 hours later.
Holy.
They turned him away for that?
Yeah, and he probably stubbornly was like, screw this.
Yeah.
But I think he was in so much pain. He just didn't. But yeah, it's very sad. He was a diabetic. He passed away from sepsis, and it was during COVID, and it was definitely a big struggle. My dad, substance abuse, my mom, not, more mental stuff, with me, comes with it, trauma.
Truth. Yeah.
So when you say
Siblings, yeah.
How old was your brother when he passed away, and how have you been with that?
34. Terrible, because he messaged me asking for help, and I never responded to him because
that's rough.
So a long time, many months went by. I think that I felt I blame myself a lot for anything that happens around me. even just like what we were talking about on the true crime podcast that like we did earlier,
Right.
like take blame for some of the murders that took place. I felt like I could have stopped it, and I think that just comes with empathy, and like as you like would get, like some people feel that way and some people are just completely opposite end of the spectrum and enjoy inflicting pain because they're hurt still.
Right.
But with that being said, I really think I went off the granite path.
Maybe just like that sense of responsibility. You just think you need to like be responsible, or
that's a heavy weight. I
think you're
it's
putting
just
like a heavy weight on your shoulders.
Yeah, I've gotten over it. So I have a good story, not to get sappy because it's just traumatizing or like it's going through the traumas. So
give us your trauma. That's what we're
so
here
at
for.
3 a.m. it was like 3 a.m. I woke up and I had a dream about Justin was his name. And it was so ironic. I think subconsciously I knew. I went on my Instagram comments and I found a thing from years ago. I think I have a screenshot. I could find it. But it basically was him saying, hey, you look great or something. I hope all's well. And I was like, oh my God, I saw this weeks later. I'm so sorry. And he goes, I don't care. I know you love me. And that just gave me chills thinking about it because I was like, holy, like, I feel like he was telling me if from the afterlife he is telling me. That was like the biggest sign. And it was just weird because I woke up at the witching hour, 3 a.m. I was, I would say a year down about the fact I never responded to him before he passed. And then I saw that message and I was like, yeah, what am I thinking? He's like, I've known him my whole life. Like, he doesn't think like that.
Right.
You know, why would he be thinking that? I think you're just going through guilt and grief, which is a part of pain.
It's such a long process. So one thing I think that, right now we're touching on death too. I mean, I wonder if
happy times.
I lost my sister and she lost her husband. So we've all had immense amounts of
recovery
death.
uncovered.
Yeah, 5 minutes. So we're just gonna enter our closeout spaces. So the last 5 minutes, you guys can pick a subject on what we just talked about, and you can share like a personal experience or something that you want to explain to your viewers in order to convey a message. So
I love that.
Yeah. Okay. So
sounds like homework.
We can go. No, it does not sound like homework.
You're making us think. I'm getting nervous.
Okay. So I guess. All right. Well, what do you want to talk? What do you want to share with these people before we?
Do you have anything you want to share? Because I feel like you might. I kind of do, but I don't want to pull it out of my...
I'm just ripping everything off last minute right now because it's, we're at a point where we're women, we're having these talks, and there's so many subjects that we can be talking about on this podcast.
Trying
like
to
going
narrow
down
it
the road.
all down.
I have something I want to say.
This is a great introductory video, though, for everyone to see.
Right.
Just with abuse, like, be careful of, like... people who are making you feel less so that they can get more from you.
Yeah, and try not to seriously do it yourself.
Like, don't think you're serving.
You're hurting, so don't hurt others,
Yeah, don't be a hurt people who hurt people more. Break the cycle. I feel like it's easy to fall into the reactive abuse.
Break the chains, maybe.
Yes, like breaking chains. I also think
the dad jokes be coming to me.
Some people give and give and give because they don't know how to receive love. Like, I think that we struggle sometimes with taking it. Like, as this man's making me coffee here, I'm feeling weird about taking it, right? Because he's giving something
is doing
to me.
something nice for no reason.
Yeah, just because somebody's giving you something doesn't mean they're good to you or for you, or that they don't have a hidden agenda, or they're not.
And then, but like, just think about it. Like, even if you have to think about that, you can't. It's like you can't even take everything at face value.
Well, you shouldn't. I don't think you should.
No.
I don't think you should. I mean, here's my thing. It's like boundaries with everyone. The hard part is like when we live in a world that can be so mean and so nasty, right? Yeah. Boundaries can come off as mean, but nobody should ever think that your boundary or your, hey, this is what I don't want you doing is you being nasty towards them, because it's not. Right. So when that happens, that's because that person is already thinking of overstepping. And I think that that's a hard thing.
It's like
with
people
us,
who
right?
are always sorry.
We people please, right? So we're like, oh, we don't want to upset someone and we don't want to say no. But the thing is, the moment you already are iffy on saying no, you're already letting them in your space, and people get too comfortable with letting people overstep on them.
Exactly.
And that's where it gets hard. But I was going to say something else really quick. I'm losing it slowly, I think.
It'll come
It might come back. I don't know.
For next episode.
So there's something. Okay, so like this girl over here, we're very alike-wise in the last like 3 hours I've met her, and we're like laughing about this, like, oh, we're so superficial. Another thing is we're so quick to say you meet someone, you're dating, right? Yeah. And they come off a certain way. Do you know how many times we're wrong? Like, I'm extremely empathetic internally. Can I come off insensitive? Oh my God.
Well, how does your son or your daughter see you? The versions of yourself exist in so many forms.
Right.
And that's such a good point.
Right. So like,
so don't feel bad.
Oh, well, you know, they're like, oh, you're pretty, you're cute. Or like with guys, right? We might think they look a certain type of way, and then we get to know them and we find out personality wise they're so
ruins
much
their outside
different.
looks.
It could, or the other way. You can go both.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. If somebody's good personality makes them beautiful on the outside more.
I fell in love with some people who are like not
mind.
You know?
Stereotypically, I feel like women fall in love with minds versus looks, and guys,
I agree,
stereotypically can fall, but I don't want to get into
that's a whole nother, that is, but you're
sexism.
Right. You're right.
Yeah, I don't want to be sexist because I could be more masculine in some aspects.
And dominant
in some
I think I'm definitely more masculine than both of you. Just because both of you...
Why did we both give her that look?
Yeah, I do not...
See,
they
both gave me the look, but they're both the ones
all.
like, hair, makeup. And I'm just like, I was ready in 10 minutes.
That has nothing to do with being dominant.
No.
That doesn't make you
slightly...
stereotypically more like...
Stereotypically more masculine. That's what I mean.
But
it's
you
not
care
masculine.
Less. You just are a little, like, quirky.
Some people have no complex about their looks, and
she doesn't.
Solely commend you for just. It makes you more beautiful. Like
yes, because she's just.
I like to make sure that my hair is brushed. I don't like tangles in my hair.
Made sure to let us know.
You know. I also don't want to look like I'm like a walking corpse. That's
you're
not my favorite.
Naturally beautiful, so
listen, she looks gorgeous with makeup on. She looks so pretty. I want to
doll her up.
I will show you. Listen, I've done her makeup a few times, and she looks insanely gorgeous. Like she's already gorgeous.
She'd have good smoky cat eyes. Okay, well,
I can't do it, but I've worn it.
We admire you and your masculinity, but we're still dominant.
Yeah, dominant.
See, look at that. They are.
She likes to think she goes home and dominates everything, but I don't know.
Well, I am the king of my castle,
but
also we are quite fairy-like. I mean,
you have
a
side to you. You do.
We have little girls. So we run around like silly fools all day long.
I know.
The Taurus in me is coming out. I'm bringing it back down. One thing somebody said to me recently because I was struggling, so I was like, why are people so cold? The world is so cold. Well, be careful what you let in your house because you're the one who has to clean up the cobwebs.
Ooh, I like that one too because you're the one letting them in. Mm-hmm. That's another thing, and then you're the one who has to deal with the mess.
And being empathetic allows people into your house more because you feel like you owe it. But that's part of the...
That's part of the mental health.
Yes.
I do it too. Do you know I literally compare
serving your abuser, I guess you could say.
Do you guys do that? Do you compare people to how you feel about things? So if somebody does something wrong, you're like, well, I might do that one day, or maybe I would do that. Or like, what if you're in a bad situation and they do it, and you try to find a reason why they would do something emotionally. So then you almost justify it. Because I notice I do this a lot. I always compare people to things
more.
Your understanding, it sounds like you can put yourself in people's shoes, which is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah,
I can put myself in people's shoes, but I do also think that when people do shitty things, it's because they're being shitty.
I agree.
You have a lot of siblings, and I feel like you're able to just kind of
I call it like I
say F people's feelings because you had a bunch of kids in one house who were like all wanting to be their own superhero and their own main character,
with their mouth open. And I'm like, oh my god.
Anybody I've ever met who has a lot of siblings is like super patient and has this like grasp of the world that is like
I play the long game. I really do. So like
that's true. She will play the long game.
What is the long game?
Like
the
long game. She will stay in the same situation a very long time because she needs it to go her way and the way she wants. Even if it's not necessarily a bad one. But
that could be a good thing because you can sit back and create your own reality in some sense.
I like to sit there and be like, you plan 10 steps ahead.
So you're a leader. She is dominant. I can see why you are.
10 steps ahead.
You're a provider.
But you also sit there and have plan A, B, C, D, all the way down to Z. You just, that way you plan ahead. Aim high so you shoot low.
You might land on a star. That cliche quote.
Expect setbacks and failures so that when they happen, you're not kicked in the cojones. You don't have
to always expect them.
Life is gonna kick you in them cojones. Yes, you just have to be ready. Wear that cup.
I don't know. I feel like we're like role switching a little bit right now, but regardless,
I'm talking.
Regardless, I'm just saying that when you can prepare for things. I mean, I'm the one who thinks we're gonna die on the road because I'm preparing.
And I'm
for
like,
things.
bruh,
and you're like, who
we're
cares?
Gonna be
right.
okay.
This is what I mean.
Because like, you shouldn't be so paranoid because you will manifest.
I agree.
Your own
I agree
ass
with
words.
that. I do.
You will
agree
manifest it. And I'm like.
Okay, can I come in between the two?
Yes, Marley. Everything is gonna be all right, because then maybe
you're like my mom. I can be pessimistic, but I can also be optimistic. I do feel like the world is your oyster, and sometimes you can create and bring things to yourself. But being cautious isn't a bad thing.
No, but being paranoid.
There's a gray area with. I'm.
That's different.
I'm paranoid.
Cautious.
Vigilant.
As I tell my toddler.
Do you guys want to go get some food and a drink?
Yeah, I'm getting.
Cheers.
For that.
Do it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening to this conundrum of conversations. We will have another one. We are going to do a podcast every month or every week, depending on the schedule. And thank you for watching. Please subscribe and follow our channel for more of this interesting recovery uncovered content. Thank you.
And if you would like to, you could follow me on Instagram
can we add that?
Legendary.
Okay. All right. So, would you like to give us your Instagram and social media handles?
I would love to do that. You can
here, hit me with it. What are they?
Okay. Or I can send a photo and we could cut them into the.
Say your handles.
Okay. All right. So my handles are just a movement for women like myself who want to be raw, real, don't pretend to put on a facade for social media or their hometown or their small town or the judgments of others based off of what you feel a group of people would want you to do. I'm very real. I'm very raw. I go through my PTSD. I go through my anxiety. I go through my abuse with my husband, who is very willing to talk about it, and all those things. So if you want to find more quirky, silly, real, raw social media stuff, I'm just starting off, so you can see the progression of me, hopefully. Legendary is my Instagram, and that's LEGEND, like legend, and then Dairy, like DARE_Y. So Darian, Dare, I go by Daredevil. That's my alias for fun. Daredevilish is my TikTok handle. I do parodies, I do fashion, I do everything else mentioned. And I do plan to do more podcasts.
Okay.
And would love to be on this show.
And I will tag her handles below in this video so you can go find her and find her pages more accessible.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
guys.
Oh,
the red.
I know. Am I supposed to be saying anything else? Thank you for a wonderful podcast, and feel free to check out all her pages and handles, and welcoming, obviously, Ariel on this channel today. Yes. She'll probably be on the ones going further. So thank you for coming to Recovery Uncovered.
I want to be part of your world.
There you go.